My daughter is facing up to 50 years for a crime that she didn't commit. Kaya was watching her two children, and the older one pulled the younger one off the couch.
I was on the phone with my sister. She set her phone down and had her earpiece in her ear. And when she went to the bathroom, she had heard the baby start crying. I overheard Kaya in the background asking her oldest child, "What did you do?" By this time, I was already around the corner from her house, so I stormed in and I said, "We have to take him to ER."
By the time I got there, the baby had already went to the MRI, had the MRI done, and we were told that he had brain bleeding and 2 skull fractures of the brain, and that they had to call CPS and the police.
The next day, my sister was arrested, and it kind of hurt me just knowing that Kaya's not that type of person, and I was on the phone the whole time.
They put me out the room and said I couldn't stay in the room anymore with the baby. So he was left there the baby was left there by himself. I didn't get a call till probably 7 or 8 o'clock. And that's when she told me that they was charging her with a felony. The kids was removed, but they were put with family. A judge put a $50,000 bond.
We put her house on the news, mugshot, she's having rumors, and we just want to clear her name because she's not that type of person.
It's possible that the injuries came from a car accident. Kai was driving a 2006 Dodge Durango, and she hit the city bus. The 2 young kids were in the car with her when she hit the city bus. The car was totaled, so that's how I believe that the baby was injured.
I can't believe after a newborn baby was in a car accident, they didn't even notify her or tell her to take him to the hospital. But her abusing her child, never in a million years.
There's no way Kaya could have did this. Kaya is a loving mama, a caring mama. She would never resort to hitting her kids at all. Kaya's not going to harm anyone.
Kaya, you're here today and you're facing 1 to 50 years in prison for abusing your 2-month-old son.
Yes.
Did you do it?
No, Steve. I love my son.
Okay.
I took him in.
We got to do this story standing up, though. What happened to your son?
My son had 2 skull fractures and a brain bleed. I took him to the hospital because I had left him on the couch while I breastfed him and I put him on the couch so I can go to the bathroom. He was sleeping. He was 2 months old, so I figured he wouldn't be able to roll off the couch. At that time, my 1-year-old was in the back room, and when I went in the bathroom, I heard the baby screaming. So I ran out and I seen him out there, and I seen my 1-year-old pointing at him saying, "Baby." So I picked my son up and I'm like, "Oh my God," you know. So I'm on the phone with my sister and I'm like, "I'm gonna call you back. I gotta call my mom and see what's going on." So I call my mom, I'm like, "Mom, the baby was pulled off the couch," and she's like, I said, "What should I do?" And she told me, she said, "Just watch him." And I'm like, "He has a knot on his head. I need to take him to the hospital." So when I called Jasmine back and I'm like, "Jasmine, take me to the hospital. I need to make sure he's okay." And when I talked to Jasmine, Jasmine's like, "No, you shouldn't take him up there because the way the state is, they might take your baby and all this and that." And I'm like, "No, that's not gonna happen. Everything's gonna be okay. I just wanna make sure he's fine, just to be a good mom because I love my son and I just didn't want anything bad to happen. And then just to cover my tracks." So when I get to the hospital, they're telling me that he has a skull fracture, a swelling on his brain and a skull fracture, and that they had to call CPS and the police up there. So when the police get up there, they ask me my story and I sit them down and I tell them that my child was on the couch and I had went to the bathroom after I breastfed him. And when I came from out the bathroom, I figured my son had either picked him up or pulled him off the couch and dropped him. So with that being said, they told me that they would have to keep him over the night just to make sure the bleeding was stable, and that if the bleeding was not stable, that they would have to do surgery. And so I freaked out. I'm just like, "Oh no, I shouldn't have left him on the couch. I shouldn't have left him on the couch. I shouldn't have left my baby on the couch. I always take him with me to the bathroom." When I left him on the couch, I thought that he was gonna be okay. I figured my 1-year-old was sleeping in the back room and he ended up waking up. It was one mistake that I can't change now. They told me of the skull fractures, and then the next morning they said they needed to make sure that the bleeding was stable. So when they said that the bleeding, they said they had to do his CAT scan in the morning. I stayed up all night. He had a CAT scan at 5 in the morning. The first CAT scan came back blurry. The next day they did another CAT scan and they found all the other injuries, which he had 2 skull fractures and a brain bleed.
So how did he suffer these injuries?
I had a car accident and I had a C-section. There's a thing called birth trauma. It may be genetic because I have whose baby has the exact same injuries, the 2 skull fractures and a brain bleed. With the car accident, my sister said he was not properly restrained and the car flew up and his neck had whiplash.
After the car accident, did you take him to the hospital?
No. In the car accident, I had hit my head on the steering wheel and ended up losing consciousness, so they took me in. But when I came to, I was asking where my kids were and how my kids, and were they okay, and basically my kids were taken out of the car when I had lost consciousness. The kids were never checked. Later on that day, I ended up taking my...
Why weren't they checked? Who responded to an accident and has a child in a car accident and nobody takes them to the hospital? They took you, but not the child?
I have no idea why they didn't take him in. My mom had mentioned to them that the kids were in the car.
Did you say, hey, I was in a car accident, somebody needs to check my child?
Oh, yeah. When I came to, I said, how are my kids? Are they okay?
Did they do that?
No, they didn't.
Why not?
I have no idea.
Did you demand, I need my child checked out? They were just in a car accident.
Yes, I asked them, I said.
And they said no?
No, they just said that the kids were fine and they were family. I was unconscious when I came.
Who determined that?
The doctor. They asked the family how the kids were, and my family said the kids were okay.
No medical person said, we need to probably look at this child?
No.
Do you believe your daughter abused your grandson?
No, I know she did not do anything.
You know she didn't?
I know she didn't.
And you believe that this injury occurred from a baby falling off a couch onto a carpeted floor?
I believe
severe damage.
I believe the injuries came from the car accident, possibly the birth, and he did have an injury that did sustain from him falling off the couch. That was the injury.
When the child is born, there's a lot of doctors around, right?
That's right.
I remember my experience with my children. I'm in the hospital and there's doctors and nurses all around, and they examine the child when it's born, right?
That's right.
So they're missing that they damaged the child's skull,
yes.
That the child suffered severe head trauma in the hospital, and the doctors and nurses, everybody missed it.
Hey, look, we took the babies to the hospital. They didn't do their job. They sent us back home. They never did the x-rays or
Why
nothing.
didn't they want to do their job?
We don't know.
We talk about Nebraska.
But we got, like, all the paperwork and everything. Like, so...
So you're saying they wanted to treat her. They treated her, right? She got medical attention, but they wouldn't give it to the children.
No, that's not what we said.
We took them back.
We're telling you that when she had the accident...
Do you think that she abused your son?
No.
Did you?
No.
And you're here and you took a lie detector test.
Read the test.
I'm going to.
Let's read it.
I usually ask you a few questions before I get to that, though.
I'm doing everything possible.
Cameron, you came here and you took a lie detector test, and we asked you.
You can read mine first.
I am, right now. You are Cameron, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Pay attention now.
Oh, y'all paying attention.
Very good. Did you ever witness Kaya abusing your youngest son? You answered no. Did you cause any of those injuries to your youngest son? You answered no. Do you know for sure who caused any of those injuries to your youngest son? You answered no, and the results of your lie detector test is you told the truth.
Right, yeah. Now, here we go. Can I sit down? Sit down, babe. Because you're gonna pass too.
And I just want to thank you, too, for always being here for me through everything. I don't know.
I'm always going to be here for you.
I don't know if I would have made it.
I'm always going to be here for you. We know that you didn't do this. The whole family know that you didn't do this.
I love you so much.
It's like a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt. That's basically what it is. It's a witch hunt.
Sit down, babe, because you're gonna pass.
No, she ain't sitting down.
Sit down.
Kaya came here and she took a lie detector test, and we asked her, did you cause any of those injuries to your youngest son? She said no, and the results for her lie detector test is that she did not tell the truth.
Lie. That's a lie. That's a
Are you serious? Not redo this. This is bullcrap.
It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. They need to get Jasmine a test. Get Jasmine a test. How you gonna get one person? You need to get Jasmine a test. Jasmine was on the phone with her. On the phone with her.
Dan,
get Jasmine a
Dan,
test.
where's
Get
Dan?
Jasmine a
I'm
test.
so glad you came back out so I can
Jasmine
throw
a
your
test.
ass off my stage.
Where is
Get the
Dan?
hell out of here.
Get off your stage.
Get out of here.
I cannot believe this.
Get Jasmine a test. Get Jasmine a test. Get Jasmine a test. That's a lie. Get Jasmine a test. Get Jasmine.
I hope you have a really good time at the trial. Good luck to you.
Jasmine a test. Ask me to get Jasmine a test.
I was raped.
My name is Steve Wilkos, and I'm an investigative talk show host with a law enforcement background.
It was my life or his.
My job is to get truth and justice for everyday people. Watch our videos now.